Hey guys, Day here. With the high value of Simulacrums at over 120 chaos at the moment, target farming maps that drop high amounts of Simulacrum splinters has become one of the most powerful and consistent solo farming strategies in the game. In this video, I'll be talking about my loot from over 15 hours of testing, an approach to high efficiency splinter farming, and important tips you should consider to maximize your profits. The core principle around farming for splinters revolves around the fact that monsters found further away from the Delirium mirror have a greater chance to drop Simulacrum splinters, and the more monsters you kill deeper into that fog, the more splinters you get. Therefore, to maximize splinter drops, you should be running maps with high inherent monster counts that take you very far away from the mirror as you clear the map with an easy to kill boss, as bosses will drop high amounts of splinters as well. Also, don't forget to open the cocoons that spawn around the map, which add valuable magic and rare monsters with a high splinter drop chance. While this video will contain things that players at any level can employ, it is generally intended for players with a bit more experience under their belt. If you haven't already noticed, pushing deep into the Delirium fog is not an easy task, and having a strong and fast build to stay ahead of the dissipating Delirium fog behind you is essential. With that in mind, I tested splinter drops from every endgame map with potential, picked my personal favorite from tier 14, 15, and 16, and ran 50 maps each, with Chisels, Alks, Vals, Beyond, and Awakened Sextants to examine the profits from relatively tame levels of investment before really diving in. I ran tier 14 Tropical Island, which averaged 55 splinters a map. For tier 15, I chose Lair, which has a couple layouts that can be unfavorable, but on average still dropped 47 splinters. Tier 16 Promenade dropped 39 on average and was chosen mainly because it was a map that could be obtained easily in bulk with Horizon Orbs. What's amazing about the high splinter drops from these maps, and specifically in Tropical Island and Lair, is that it meant every 6 maps I ran, I earned an entire Simulacrum fragment on average, worth over 120 chaos at the time of this recording. That kind of guaranteed and consistent return is incredibly rare, and this is without using any scarabs or master missions, which add tons more monsters to the maps and crank up the splinter drops even more. Additionally, because these maps are long and quick to clear, it's common to get a solid 6 stacks of Delirium rewards. I'll just briefly comment on the loot from these initial 150 maps because I've included the data in a Google Sheet linked in the description if you want to read up a bit more. In general, I profited over 7,000 chaos, over 47 chaos a map, at over 700 chaos per hour when you include time to sell items. What's notable is that Simulacrum splinters made up over 30% of my profits, which is incredible, especially since Simulacrums are a very liquid item that sell almost instantly. The other vast majority comes from pure currency drops like fusings and exalts, with an unexpectedly high amounts made from cluster jewel sales as well. This entire tab of red maps, divination cards, essences, and stuff worth hundreds of chaos together is not included in my profits to keep things simple and cause I hate selling maps. While running these maps, I also dropped a couple big orbs, a 3x Badge of the Brotherhood, 12x Skyforce, and a 21x Savior, but these are not included in my profit calculations to represent a session with atrocious RNG. However, when you are out there blasting through lots of high tier maps consecutively, big drops will eventually come, and you should also be leveling gems and running master missions for more profit as well. It's clear that in this league, choice of map is incredibly important for farming the Delirium mirror. With the favorite map system, you have some degree of control over the map drops, allowing you to more frequently run maps you enjoy. The reason why I ran 50 of 3 different maps instead of just 150 of one map is because it's quite difficult to sustain a single red map with this low level of investment. However, by cycling between 3 maps of different tiers, it allows me to sustain all 3 favorite maps, making it so I can consistently farm without needing to trade for more maps while giving me some much needed variety. I chose to give the 30 times drop bonus to T14 Tropical Island, T15 Lair, and T16 Tower because I can always just Horizon Orb for more promenades, and Tower is a great choice also. After 150 maps, I was able to easily sustain my favorite T15 and T16 and almost sustain my favorite Tier 14. The tier 14 is likely difficult due to the Atlas bonus automatically leveling up the maps that drop into higher tiers. If I'd put a bit more investment into each map, like running master missions or using sacrifice fragments, I know I would have sustained the tier 14 across these 150 maps as well. And while these relatively tame maps were great, I wanted to see how profits change if we juice up maps with a greater investment. Another set of 50 T14 tropical islands was rolled, but this time, on top of Chisels, Alks, Xana Beyond, and Awakened Sextants, each map was run with an Alva Master Mission, Plague of Frogs Prophecies when possible, and 4 Scarabs to add more monsters to the map. Like with the first 150 maps, these maps were also able to proc Conqueror Influence for the occasional boost in monster count. With this higher level of investment into Tropical Island, the Splinter drops and profits per map skyrocketed. The average Splinter drop increased to 85 a map, which is an entire Simulacrum every 3.5 maps. The extra investment added far more monsters to each map, all of which dropped their own loot while adding to the Delirium reward counter, which now reliably reached the 7th stack. Across these juiced up Tropical Islands, I profited over 89 chaos a map, around double what I was earning before. The chaos per hour didn't change much from the previous maps, still being over 700 chaos per hour. This is because I needed to take extra time to run Alva temples every 4 maps, and each map takes longer to run due to more monsters on each map. Once again, Simulacrum Splinters were around 30% of my profits, with pure currencies making up the other chunk. When it comes to favorite maps sustained on this higher level of investment, I got about 26 tropical islands and 38 lairs back from the 50 maps I ran, which is pretty good. When running all these maps, cluster jewel drops also ended up being a surprisingly reliable source of currency gain. However, properly pricing and selling them one by one is a nightmare. Therefore, I recommend sticking them all into one sell tab, taking out the herald ones with 4 or 5 passives like this to sell manually for over 100 chaos, and setting everything else in the tab at a blanket 65 chaos. Then decrease the price of the tab by 10 chaos every few maps while you play, and you'll get tons of easy sales without needing to waste time pricing. Doing this netted me hundreds of easy chaos on items I would have just vendored otherwise. Furthermore, while I chose Tropical Islands for my tier 14 map of choice, Burial Chambers was a very close competitor. Burials drop slightly less splinters on average, is slightly harder to clear in time, and the fog sometimes bugs out in the second room, but running that map gives you the chance to drop the valuable Doctor and Betrayal Divination cards, which are really nice to have. You could certainly choose Burials instead, or select both if you don't mind getting slightly less of each. If you are heavily investing into these maps and have a strong build, Burials is likely the more profitable choice. Additionally, Alva Temples are far and away the best master mission for amplifying Delirium rewards. As a small tip, when running Alva Temples, a lot of people use the level 3 Apex of Ascension on a unique belt trying to get a Headhunter, but just get another useless belt worth nothing. Rather than taking that gamble, I personally like to stick in a 5 Chaos Coward's Chain with a 10 Chaos Vial of Consequence, which rewards you with the Coward's Legacy Belt that sells for 160 Chaos at the time of this recording for more than an Exalt of reliable profit. Alternatively, you can upgrade Transcendent Jewels, which make for solid profit as well. Now, while many players are juicing up maps with Delirium Orbs, I'm personally really enjoying this Delirium Mirror style of farming a lot at the moment. The maps require less maintenance, and all the loot drops together at the end in a big explosion rather than as I clear the map, which can be a little annoying to pick up. If running this style of fast, linear mapping looks fun to you, I highly recommend you give it a try, whether it be just basic maps or juiced up with higher levels of investments. Either way, you can't lose money, and the more efficiently you are playing, the more profits you are earning for your time. Furthermore, even a tier 5 tropical island and a tier 8 lair dropped huge amounts of splinters, meaning even players that can only run low tier maps or have weaker builds can still take advantage of good linear map layouts for solid Simulacrum splinter profit. The faster you go and the more efficient you can be, the more chaos per hour you earn regardless of your level of play. However, the most important thing is to set some fun goals and play the content you enjoy at your own pace. There's no big secret to farming currency. At the end of the day, just getting out of your hideout into a map and playing the game can earn you currency, unless you're doing some crazy stuff like exalting your maps, and you're earning 0 chaos per hour if you're just sitting around not having fun. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share in this video. Hopefully you learned something new or found something interesting. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to lend a helping hand. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.